What's going on, and welcome to the Backpacking Podcast. I'm here today with Jeremiah Stringer and a good buddy of his, and I'm going to let him introduce him in just a second. But Jeremiah, I got exciting news today.
Oh, what's up, man?
My wife got a raise today at work.
Uh-oh.
But it wasn't just a raise, dude. It was like a $7,000 raise.
Wow.
Nice.
You buying new gear?
No, come on.
That's
on, dude.
Knows.
I just put my daughter in preschool. We were trying to figure out how we were going to pay for that. So, like, you know, that was a huge blessing for the family, though, man. $7,000 raise. Isn't that amazing?
That's a giant blessing, man.
That's huge, bro. That's huge.
Yeah. Congrats.
Yeah. So, and I don't have COVID anymore, so that's good.
Oh, yeah. He's all healed up from the cooties.
Yeah, because, dude, I had, like most people probably don't know this, but, like, we recorded, like, 3 episodes in one day.
Mm-hmm.
The next week, I got COVID.
It was rough, I hear.
Dude, it was terrible. It was absolutely awful. I was, like, on my couch, running 101-degree fever, couldn't move, didn't want to eat it. I lost 11 pounds, though.
Wow, I mean, that's good for the weight loss. John's
I've been working on weight loss anyways, you know, it just, I went from like 59 pounds of weight loss to 70 pounds of weight loss. So, I mean, it's, you know, it's a trade-off.
Yeah, a little Kickstarter. Who knew?
Yeah, yeah. But I don't wish that on anybody. Like, that's not a good way to lose weight. Let's put it that way.
True that. Yeah, I was saying in an upcoming video, I was just working on it yesterday. Probably starving yourself out in the woods isn't the best way to lose weight, but backpacking is a good motivator.
We've talked about that. You and I have talked about that. So
yes.
That's well, why don't you introduce our guest who's sitting there right next to you? Usually we don't get guests that are live with us. They're usually like remotely dialed in. But today you went hardcore. You paid for an airline ticket, gas money in a hotel, and brought in a guest.
I took a shower too, washed off the hiker stank. So,
oh man, that's awesome.
He's actually sitting here next to me. This is my good buddy, Brice Burton. How's it going, man?
It's going great, man.
Oh, don't leave me hanging.
Oh.
For those of you who are listening right now, Jeremiah just went for a fist bump and Brice just basically ignored it. It was classic and beautiful.
I'm looking at the screen at you, JK, man. Golly, dude. You're looking good. The beard's awesome, man.
Dude, thank you. It's finally growing back after making the mistake with the wrong size trimmer. My gosh.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, he was hurting. So,
embarrassing.
This is my buddy Brice. Crazy thing, Brice, unless you want to tell how we met.
Go for it.
Okay. So Brice, he does a bunch of different stuff, which we'll get into later, but we're kind of from the same area. We live in the Lake Cumberland region in Kentucky, southeastern Kentucky.
Beautiful region, by the way. Beautiful region of Kentucky.
Love it. And I remember my wife and I went downtown to, like, I don't know, they're having some kind of festival or something, and they have, you know, beer and food, and they block off all downtown. And, you know, you walk around to the different vendors and check stuff out and all that. And so I was walking, and then I think Brice said something along the lines of, it was him, he was walking, and there's a lady with him, and they're pushing a stroller, I think. And he was like, "Oh my gosh, are you Jeremiah Stringer?" And I was like, "What?" And now the channel is growing a little bit on YouTube. So, you know, the bigger it gets, you know, the more videos and stuff blows up, the more often you get recognized, but it's still very rare. And I was like, this is unreal, in just downtown, walking around in my hometown. And he's like, "Oh my gosh, I know you from YouTube." And turns out,
awesome.
Brice, yeah, it was crazy. He probably thought he was scaring me to death.
I did. It was great. It was awesome.
But did that. Okay, so I took my family out to Sonny's Barbecue here in Nicholasville, and we're eating, and my wife and I drove separate because of her work schedule at the time. And so she left with the kids, and I'm sitting there by myself, and all of a sudden I hear this guy go, "Hey, John." And I look over at like a table, like 2 tables over, and this guy goes, "Dude, I love your channel."
Wow.
He goes, I didn't want to bother you while you were eating with your family, which I thought that was cool. You know, like some people don't do that. People don't understand boundaries. That dude was so cool. And that was just awesome. It was just one of the nicest things anybody's ever said. Cause he's like, "Yeah, I didn't want to bother you, but just want to let you know I love your channel."
Well, I can't do it justice, our interaction there. but it was lit to say the least. And Brice,
Yes.
how did you actually know? I think you done a little research and that kind of stuff.
Sure. Yeah, man. I actually moved back to Kentucky, to our hometown. And when I moved back, I just was scrolling through Instagram and looking at geotags, and which you don't do anymore, I know. Hot topic.
I do here and there.
Yeah, here and there. But anyway, I was looking at geotags and just, looking at hashtags and just trying to see who in my hometown is getting out and hiking and getting in the woods. And I kept coming up to you and seeing your ugly mug on there, and that led me into YouTube and yeah, man. When I saw you walking down, I was like, "There's Jeremiah Stringer." It was great, man. It was awesome. So.
Okay, so Brice, I have to tell you our first interaction.
Okay,
like mine and Jeremiah's, because I had a channel, but I hadn't done anything with it yet. Really, I had like 30 subscribers.
Sure,
but somehow Dan Becker and I got connected because I used to live in his hometown.
Sure.
And so he sent me his number because give me a call. So we're talking on the phone and he gives me Jeremiah Stringer's phone number. So here I am, this like lowly 30 subscriber YouTube channel.
No, my channel was
I was given, you were like 1,200 subs at that point. You were doing good at the time. You were doing good at the time. But I remember that I got your number and I called you the whole time, like, man, I hope he doesn't think I'm some kind of big dork or something, And so he answers and we end up talking for like 20 minutes. And he's like, hey, man, I'm going to be driving to Nashville in a few weeks. He goes, why don't you call me back and we'll talk while I'm driving. I'm like, okay. So I gave him my number because I was like, well, you'll be the one driving, so you call me. And that also gives him an out because I'm thinking to myself, this dude doesn't want to talk to me. I'm going to give him the out. I'll give him my number. If he doesn't call, it's cool. My feelings won't be hurt.
Sure.
I'm like a big nobody. So I was like not worried about it. And he actually calls me up. And he goes, hey, man, what's going on? And we talked like for 3 hours.
Yeah.
And that's basically where the relationship started. And it's just bloomed ever since,
He was thinking about you the whole time on the long trail.
Oh yeah, I know he was. He told me, he said each night when he was dreaming, he would think of me, which really touched me in my heart,
Because that was that trip, right? When you were headed down to Nashville. Yeah.
I was on my way to Nashville. Yeah, to fly out for the long trail. You nailed it, man. Well, Brice and I became friends, and we hooked up, and he invited me to speak at an event that his organization was hosting. Can you tell us a little bit about that organization that you started?
Yeah, man. I'll just give you a quick briefing on who I am too, as well, because I think it ties into that whole motivation of why I wanted to start Kentucky Outdoor Adventure Project. But born and raised here in Kentucky, and grew up like you, JK, in scouting, and kind of got exposed to the outdoors through my dad and that, and anyway, just kind of fell in love with it. Ended up moving to Washington State, Tacoma, in the shadows of Mount Rainier, and spent like 8 years out there. Yeah, awesome experience. Anyway, got this idea for a gear library. Gear libraries are nothing new, nothing. Universities, usually have them and things like that. But I wanted to, open it up to more people. And so the outdoors doesn't really need any more recognition out there. And I mean, it's the hip, cool thing to do. You can go to all the obscure trailheads at 4 a.m. and they're still going to be full. And anyway, so when me and my wife decided to move back to Kentucky, it was with Kentucky Outdoor Adventure Project in mind. And yeah, so we just started a 501c3 nonprofit, and that's pretty much what we're doing. We have a library full of gear that lowers the barrier of entry into the outdoors for organizations, for families, and they gain access to this library by going through a couple classes, getting educated on how to use it properly and how to be a good steward of the land. And then we recommend different places for them to go to and things like that. And they get out and rock and roll with it. So, so yeah, just really lowering the barrier of entry into the outdoors, for folks. And then number two, getting people moving, as you know, JK, through your weight loss journey, and you as well.
Yeah, Jeremiah's lost 100 pounds. So, I mean, like, he understands. He's been there.
And so, I mean, you know, Kentucky is like one of the most obese states in the nation. And I mean, we just got to get our people moving. And then the last thing is just bringing awareness to our public lands. And I know you guys visit I call it the Red because I'm primarily a climber, the Gorge, Red River Gorge. You know, it doesn't need much more recognition because obviously they're already experiencing, you know, the growing pains that they've had. But there's so many more areas within the Daniel Boone National Forest, within Big South Fork, Cumberland Gap, Mammoth Cave. I mean, we've got some amazing public lands here in Kentucky that people just underutilize. And one thing that I've learned is if you don't use it, you'll lose it. And so the organization was founded to kind of do those things, you know, lower the barrier of entry for gear, get people moving, and then just bring awareness to our public lands.
Can I ask a question? It's not very serious, but I have to figure this out. I'm confused. What town are you from?
Somerset.
Jeremiah?
Yes.
Say, I live in Somerset.
I live
say it real quick. Okay, now Brice, you say I live in Somerset.
I live in Somerset.
Okay, can you now say vestibule? Can you say vestibule for me real quick?
And I can't knock Jeremiah on this because I grew up calling a vegetable. Okay, so like I can't say anything. So
all I know, this is all I know. Like I'm listening to you talk and I'm going, there's no chance. Like there's no way you're from Somerset.
I did live like 8 years out in the Northwest, so I mean there is that.
I was born in Somerset, but I was raised in Monticello, and it's a little bit more Eastern Kentucky than Somerset. Like this is the big city. This is where everybody goes. If you need to go to the mall, you know.
I don't think Somerset is Eastern Kentucky. I don't think you're on the west side of 75. So it's like technically you're South Central Kentucky, which is actually more hardcore sounding anyways. But I mean, I just know like most of the people I met from Somerset sound like Jeremiah.
Sure.
Not like Brice.
Sure.
So when you're talking and like you make the comment, I try to keep a straight face when you said it. But you're like, yeah, I moved back to my hometown. I'm going, what hometown? You know, like, but anyways, like that's not a cutter. I just had to figure that out.
You get me talking with Jeremiah, it'll come out for sure.
Oh, good. That's what we're gonna work for that this whole time. We're gonna constantly like try and get you to say things like pie or sky or anything that comes out as ah.
Oh yeah,
we'll get that. We'll get it eventually.
Well, I think the Washington State rubbed off on you too, man.
Oh, totally. It totally did for sure.
You pick it up. You know, whenever I was living in Ecuador, you should have heard me whenever I left there. I
could just imagine a Kentucky like Hispanic accent. Like the combination of the two together had to be phenomenal.
Well, my Spanish got to be okay. I mean, I could almost have a conversation.
I'll bet it was. It was. You were there for how long?
Only a month.
Only a month. Only.
Well,
that's a long time, dude.
Well, language-wise, a month isn't long enough to learn the language. You know,
unless you have a super brain like Jeremiah Stringer.
I wish, man. I am average at best.
Average at best.
Yeah.
Molding young minds. Average at best.
So, anyway, Brice is talking about this organization.
Yes, let's keep talking. Sorry, I do this all the time. That's like I said, Jeremiah's the good one for this thing. I'm the one that's always constantly ruining the conversation and the mood. So
you're good, man. I was just gonna mention how great of an honor it was. Brice, he had this fireside chat idea, and there was a local, like, I don't know if it's really a brewery.
Yeah, it's a brewery.
Is it a brewery? Yeah. Okay. So there's a local brewery, shout out to Jarfly, and he hosted an event there. There was a fireside chat, and the idea was, you know how we gather around a campfire and we basically talk and, you know, hang out and have fun and laugh. So Brice's idea was to bring that same kind of environment into this establishment, and you hang out, have a couple of drinks, and chat, and he has some speakers. So he gave me the honor of actually speaking there. And I remember I talked about my first backpacking experience, and had a great time. There's another few people. I knew some of them already that had done a cross country road trip together. How many people was it?
I think there was like 6 of them. Yeah.
Yeah, 6 people, all driving thousands of miles and checking out like a bunch of national parks and stuff. So he basically
was there a 7th person who like didn't make it?
Because there's a dog.
That's a lot of moving parts for a group, man. Like somebody's gonna hate somebody by the end of that trip, you would think normally. So that's pretty impressive if they all made it live.
Yeah, they were all really into overlanding, so they were in separate vehicles, things like that. So I think that made it a little easier separation, on the way to the different parks and stuff.
Yeah,
Nice.
they did say it is tough driving that far. Like for how they were gone for like a couple of weeks, I think, and that is maybe a week. I don't remember. Anyway, that's a long time in a car. Like you drive 6-7 hours every day, maybe more, and then camp for a day or two, check out the different national parks. I'd like to do it, but I'd like to maybe rent a Jeep and then pop the top off, take the doors off, and Bridget and I can cruise around and drive out west. I still haven't been, man. And Brice has been trying to get me. I remember you were planning a trip to Summit, Rainier.
Yeah.
And he was talking about all of the equipment and the microspikes and self-arrest. And I was like, I don't know, man. This is pretty scary stuff.
Oh, you can do it.
Yeah.
You
don't know.
do it, man.
Brice,
Dude, you got this. You so got this.
JK knows. He's been on Kilimanjaro.
Yeah, buddy, you got this.
it's a beast, man. That's a
I'm
different
trying to get out. I've been trying to get out west, and every trip that, like, so far I've had like 3 different trips, and something has happened to make them all fall through. So I'm starting to like think the West hates me. So like I'm hoping next summer I'm gonna get out to. I was supposed to get out to Utah this fall, then some things happened to made that not possible. So now I'm like, I'm getting itchy. You know what I mean? Like I'm ready to get out west. I'm curious. We'll talk about it in a second, but I'm curious about your adventures out west.
Sure.
Yeah, that's what I want to hear about is Pacific Northwest, because living there for years. How many times did you go on Mount Rainier?
I've got 4 summits myself. I think 6 attempts. So,
and that's a 14er, right?
Yeah.
That's what I thought. Yeah,
it's the most glaciated peak in the Northwest, or in the lower 48. So,
I want John and the audience to hear this ridiculous story. So Brice had my wife and I over, and we had dinner and stuff, and got to meet this little girl, and he told me a story about it was a crazy poop story. Up and
we haven't talked about poop on here in a while, dude.
Well, we haven't been live streaming. I mean, we got live streams coming up, but
a few weeks, just a few weeks.
Few weeks away, and that really brings out the poop for some reason.
Brings out the poop in us.
So we are still going to be doing that this fall, coming in to the new season. But Brice, you want to tell John and the audience about the pooping up on the?
Please.
Yeah, man, I'll totally share this because it's not my poop story. I wasn't the one laying the load. So
will you do me a favor? Come a little closer to you.
Yeah. So this is man, if my buddy hears this, he's totally gonna wreck me.
You don't have to say his name.
No, it's good.
What's his name? I'm just kidding.
So he's I don't know, is it hypoglycemic? Not I guess I can't remember between hyperglycemic and hypo. Anyway, he's just shooting these gels all on the way up on our summit day. And so summit bid, leave Camp Muir at like midnight kind of thing. And you've got like 6 hours from Camp Muir up to the summit, pretty much, give or take a few minutes there. But anyway, man, he's just shooting gels this whole time, and to keep his blood sugar up. And man, we cross over into the crater rim. I mean, you're in the crater itself, in the big circle, and you take off gear, and before you got to actually walk across the crater, and then gain this the ridge for the true summit. And but everybody kind of just sheds gear and stuff there, and it's getting warmer. Sun's already up, and And anyway, man, it hits him, and he's got to take a dump. I mean, it's happening. And he's like, guys, I mean, we're all exhausted. He's like, guys, no pictures, no nothing. We're like, dude, it's fine. It's golden. Like, you do your thing, Well, Rainier, even though it's dormant, still active, volcano in the fact that it's there's steam vents and stuff. So he's walking over one of these steam vents, and you got to blue bag it there and stuff, but he's trying to get some privacy. So he's going over to some of these steam vents, and he starts post holing.
Now, for people listening, if you don't know what a blue bag is, we're talking wag bags, correct?
Oh yeah, wag bag, yeah,
yes.
yeah. One wag bag.
You got to carry your poop back out.
Oh yeah. You can't leave that on Rainier.
Okay.
And anyway, so long story short, we've got a guy with a GoPro on his helmet, and it's just taking pictures every like 30 seconds kind of thing, right? And so we told him no pictures. This is not planned at all. We have no idea. We're laughing at him. We're having a good time. It's not until we get back to the house that we're going through all of our photos and we see it. And it is, it's GoPro. So it's like, super wide angle, field of view, all this stuff. So we really got to zoom in to see it. But it is the exact moment that
it comes out.
This is a family show, so I don't want to get too graphic, but dude, you can see this nerd. It is touching his butthole and the snow at the same exact time, and it looks just like the gel that he's been shooting all day. I mean, it is like, so anyway, that's the poop story. And then the next picture is 30 seconds later or whatever, and it's him holding up his blue bag like in a blaze of glory, just loving it, loving life.
And the best part is there's this beautiful scenery behind him.
Oh no, totally. It's hilarious.
It's one of those ones you could put in a magazine and see if anybody ever actually notices him in the background.
Exactly. Yeah. The anniversary for that trip was just I think like a week and a half ago, and we were on this group thread, text, of course, sharing that picture. And he was like, "Oh man, that's the scariest poop of my life," because he's over next to these steam vents. It already smells like rotten eggs and everything. And
but it's kind of like a natural bidet of sorts. You know what I mean? Like, if you can handle the heat.
Yeah.
I mean,
so there's nothing to hide behind.
There's nothing to hide behind, bro. The Alpine is so unforgiving when it comes to
Kilimanjaro. There'd be occasionally you'd see a big rock.
Sure.
And you could go behind that and do your business. But there's no wag bag rules or anything up there. And so like, you just really got to be careful. Yeah. Like I didn't even know a wag bag existed, to be honest with you. Cause like they never told us to have one. I mean, it's Africa, you know what I mean? Like, so we're not talking like America here. So like we knew nothing of that.
Yeah.
Now I will say I never actually did the deed out on the hike because they always had bathrooms at our camps.
Sure.
So if I had one, I'd pinch tight and just wait. You know what I mean? We've actually got a trail called Pinch 'em Tight here in Kentucky, and every time I see that, all I can think about is Kilimanjaro and how many times I had to pinch 'em tight just so I wouldn't do that deed out in the wood or out in the. Yeah, it's just we'll stop with that.
Yeah, so the ranger stations and stuff out there, they provide all the blue bags. They want you to use them, and definitely frowned upon if you don't. There's nothing like seeing a big frozen turd left there from last year.
Yeah.
So Mount Adams, actually, the ranger station there, they added a little something into the kit. You go and get your permit, and then you get your blue bags and everything. And there was actually a paper target, like 8.5 by 11, with like a bullseye target and a little bit of kitty litter that you could sprinkle on it, absorb some of the smell and moisture. So I thought that was a nice touch.
That's a very nice touch.
I am so unfamiliar with the carrying out the poop. I've literally never done that. And I don't tell my neighbors, but if the dog poops in their yard, I will use the doggy bag because, we got a couple dogs. I'll scoop it up, but if there's a trash can around, straight in the trash can. I don't care.
I don't care about that stuff. Like,
yeah, I don't mind.
I had a guy who was a neighbor of mine walking his dog, and if his dog pooped out in front of our house, he'd be like, "Dude, is it cool?" I'm like, "I don't care. It's in a trash can." Like,
yeah, it's not like you're dropping it on their doorstep, lighting it on fire. You're dropping it in.
Yeah, you only do that to people you don't like. That's right. No big deal. Yeah.
So it's the same thing. I don't want to sound uncultured here, but I'm getting schooled on the the poop bags. So just like the dog, you just reach and grab it, scoop it back up.
There's
No, you poop into the bag, don't you? Isn't that what you're supposed to like actually poop into the bag?
You put the bag on your butt?
Yeah, I mean, Devin Ashby did an entire video on his channel.
I haven't seen that.
Country Exposure, and that thing is like 1 million views or something. It's like some insane number of views on that video. And he literally, I mean, he doesn't do the deed, but he shows how you hold it up to your cheeks and make sure that nothing comes out. And yeah.
I'm a kind of sit it down because it comes with 2 bags, right? Because you don't want the goods coming out on your gear, so you double bag it. And so I actually sit a bag down, drop the deuce, and then do a little doggy bag pickup kind of thing. So
okay, cool.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
I dig a cat hole usually.
Yeah, there's definitely different schools of thought on how to
well, I was to say, when we had Dan Becker on here, he was talking about how the wind was so violent that he was holding that bag up against his cheeks as hard as he possibly could, praying the wind didn't catch it and blow it off while he was in the middle of doing it. So, yeah, I mean, it's something. I don't even know why we're talking about it right now, other than it's really funny to talk about poop on this podcast for some reason. So,
well, if you want to see something really interesting, look at how how these big wall climbers that like climb El Cap and stuff like that in multiple days, see their poop procedures. Yeah, just you can YouTube it. It's good.
Well, that sounds like I got something new to check out in the poop world.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah. Brice has been trying so hard, I feel like, to get me to go climbing with him. And I don't know why, because I'm scared of heights, but I'm willing to try.
Wait a second. Hold up. You're scared of heights?
I'm scared of heights, man.
How did I not know this?
I think it's my ego. I think it just overshadows it, you know? You gotta not let it get to you.
I mean, I've hiked in some crazy places with you, like especially out in the gorge on the goat trail. And you're like right there, and it's like a few hundred feet, and you're not going to survive the fall.
Well, that's pretty safe. It's pretty safe there.
Okay, that's
just
cool.
Don't fall off the edge. You're good.
Well, that does help. Yeah, that does help.
You're safe climbing too. There's a rope. I mean, we're not free solo. We're not Alex Honnold free solo.
You're safe climbing, man. But I don't know. I mean, you're safe in an airplane too, but
you still fly.
That thing goes down. You're going down too.
I took an outdoor class in college, and we did what is it when you belay and you go? What is that when you go down the cliff?
Rappelling.
Yeah, I've done rappelling. Yeah, I've done that.
Yeah.
So, and I think that would be scarier than climbing up, honestly.
No, come on, man. Climbing up, you're going up. You're seeing where your hands are going.
But you're looking up. If you're smart, you're not looking down. So but if you rappel, you got to look down, and you're going at a pretty decent rate of speed.
Yeah, man. Rappelling is definitely scary. I mean, that first initial, like leaning back off the edge of the cliff.
Yeah,
it's
I was terrified the first time I did that.
My biggest problem is I can't find size 15 climbing shoes for this guy. I've been looking everywhere.
That's what it is, man.
Dude, it's brutal.
You find some, holler at me. I'm happy to give it a try. You had to teach me the techniques and stuff. I feel like my legs.
There has to be a video camera involved.
We'll
has
record.
To be a video camera involved.
I just worry about my upper body strength, man. I feel like I'm so weak, and I want.
You're a beast, bro. You're a beast.
It's like climbing a ladder, man. Do you use your arms to pull up on a ladder?
No, not really.
It just keeps you on there. Your legs do all the work.
Oh, see, I can do that. I got strong legs.
Yeah, this isn't like American Ninja Warrior, dude. Like, you're not gonna be dangling from your arms for most of this stuff.
Yeah.
I just feel like it's so scary.
Dude, I had a buddy in college. He was 6'5" and weighed 300 pounds. And he was a rock climber. And he actually taught rock climbing one summer.
Wow.
300 pounds. And the dude was a killer rock climber.
I mean, I'm a big dude. For climbers, I'm a big dude. But it's all technique. You know, I'm definitely not going to climb as hard as I used to. And not that I used to climb super hard, but I mean, now I'm.
You did. We're going to say you did.
Okay. They call it the trad dad now. Trad dad. Now that I'm a dad, it's just moderate trad routes and
dad bods take over. Once you have a kid, it develops immediately.
That's right.
I'm so impressed with you all, like taking your kids out and getting them started and everything. I think so many people, I feel like, and this is, I'm not trying to step on any toes here. I'm not a dad and I have no idea what I'm talking about. All right. So we'll go ahead and put that out there. I feel like there's so many people that their kids, they don't live with them. Like the people live with the kids instead of the other way around.
Sure.
And the kids kind of like everything's dictated by the kids. And I get that, especially when it comes to like your kid is an infant and they're not mobile and it's super inconvenient to do anything. But your kids are getting to the age now that they can get out there and they can experience some of it. And I thought it was really interesting, man. Whenever we were camping, we headed up to the gorge, and it was me and Bridget and you and Becca and your daughter. And the way that you all gave her some decision making, and would you share with everybody what you kind of left up to her whenever you are packing and all that? And how do y'all do the family hiking, camping, that kind of stuff?
Oh man, I don't know what decision making we left up to her. I can't remember.
I remember explicitly and specifically what you all did, but I was giving you a chance to share.
No, I can't remember it all, man.
You all still had to pack all the essentials.
Sure.
And you're backpacking with kids. I don't have any experience doing that, but it seems like the parent is pretty much carrying all the weight, and anything your kid needs, you're bringing it. But you let her choose some stuff too. It's like you gave her so many items to choose from.
Sure.
She packed her own backpack.
Yeah.
But then you all still kind of share the space.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. you summed it up right there. Yeah, we just give her an opportunity to bring what she thinks she needs, and I think on everybody's backpacking journey, it's very important to kind of, what did you not use last time, and then don't bring it this time, kind of thing. Yep. So we've just kind of started that at a super early age with her, kind of thing. So the first time we went out and her backpack was full of toys and stuff like that she never even, she thought she had to have while we were at the house, and it wasn't the case. And so we've just pared it down, and over time, she's learning. So
yeah, the big thing is with little kids, and you could probably speak to this too, Brice, like you want the kids to enjoy it.
Sure.
You don't want to beat them down the first trip with this heavy backpack and long miles, and to where they're just like, I don't want to ever do that again, Daddy. Like, I don't want to go again. My first camping trip with my daughter was on a friend's farm.
Sure.
Where their daughters, who were right around my daughter's age, came out and they played all night, and they had a swing set, and we slept in a tent. I mean, that's like, we had a campfire and we did all that, but it was just more so that she could be outside and sleep in the tent and realize it's okay.
Sure.
And the next trip, I mean, my daughter's only 4, so we're still kind of, and my wife doesn't do anything outside. Okay. My wife is allergic to the outdoors. She will tell you that. And so she is not backpacking. She is not hiking. She is not sleeping in a tent. She said, until we buy a camper, she is not camping. And so she's a glamper,
Yeah.
So I'm doing it by myself. So I don't have any help. And so, like, for me, it's like just trying to get her out there and enjoy it. And I think probably just from listening to what Jeremiah said about your trip, that's probably your mindset too, is just really giving your daughter the opportunity to actually enjoy it, so she wants to keep going out.
Sure. Yeah. It started with just camping trips, and then day hikes, and then we went on our first overnight backpacking, where she actually carried all of her stuff that she needed, and cool. A little sleeping pad, cut down and everything. It's hilarious, So she's only 4 as well, but man, I mean, she was born out in Washington, and I'm trying to think. I mean, she was snowshoeing. I mean, she was with us while we went on a snowshoe, like 6 months, I think. I mean, she just does it different. Like, and we learned a lot through that. Don't leave the passy in the car, So
that's a good tip.
And it's crazy because, and I hate to even admit this, but like, she's 6 months old, and we're going out, and I'm trying to find this perfect spot, JK, like, to get this awesome family picture. I mean, I've packed like a wool blanket and everything in the snow. We've got our snowshoes on, our dog. It's killer. It's gonna be awesome. And I'm like, let's just keep going a little bit further. We walk a little bit further, and then I think I pushed her a little too far, before we stopped and fed her and all this stuff at 6 months old. And so we got some good pictures, but I was doing it for the gram, and showing the family back home and all that stuff. But yeah, man, she cried a little bit, but you realize that, hey, they lived through it. I do too, and on to the next day. So one of my favorite stories with her, you guys are familiar with Chateau Trace, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
So we do a lot of just little day hikes and stuff on different sections of it. And one of the sections that's really close here is from old Highway 80 down to Hawk Creek. Like, so you're going south to north, if you're familiar with that area, JK. And we're going down and we play in the creek for a little while and we're coming back up, and it's got a pretty steep section coming up. And I'm maybe 5 or 6 paces in front of her. And I'm like, hey, do you want me to carry you up this steep? And she goes, no, Daddy, I can do it. I mean, this is awesome. Yeah, this is like, I don't know, back in the spring or something. And so I'm like 5 or 6 paces ahead of her, and we're just, going up. And I can hear her talking to herself. I'm like, what is she saying? So I stop and pull off to the side of the trail, and she's coming up by me and she's going, you can do it. You can do it. Be quiet, legs. You can do it. And I'm just like, oh my God.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that is awesome.
Cool, man. And so she just does stuff like that all the time, and talking her to herself, and all that. It's just funny. It's just funny.
I have decided while we've been sitting here talking, your appearance reminds me of somebody.
Oh God.
And it's somebody that's very influential to me personally. And that is, and I'm going to put this up on the screen because it's been bugging me the whole time, like who you look like. It's Joe Thomas, the future Hall of Fame offensive lineman from the Cleveland Browns. Dude, you look crazy a lot like him. Like, are you super buff too? Like, and we just don't know this? Like,
he's shredded.
I believe it, dude. He's a hardcore mountain climber. So, I mean, but seriously, the whole time I'm looking at you, I'm like, who does he look? Dude, you look like Joe Thomas. Right there he is. For people listening online right now, we just put his picture up. Go look up Joe Thomas, and you can imagine what Brice looks like while we're talking to him today. So,
or if you actually want to see Brice, just go on the YouTube channel, Backpacking Podcast.
But how much more fun is it just to imagine? I mean, come on, that's the best part of like books and stuff is like imagination. Yeah. So if you can imagine, Brice is 6'6", weighs in around 270, and he's shredded. That's Brice.
I'll take it, man. Yeah, let's go.
I knew you would. I would take that too. I'd just like to be 6 foot, but
You know who I think Brice kind of looks like?
God, who's that?
I think he kind of looks like Les Stroud. I think you got your hair shaved down, you got your beard going. That's who I kind of think. John, you looking it up?
Actually, I'm going to show you something else here. Let me save this image so I can show it to you here. But this is a little bit better, I think, representation of what Joe Thomas looks like now. Oh, it's not going to let me do it. But Joe Thomas now doesn't have hair. Like, he shaved his head bald, and he is super ripped. Like, there with that first picture, he was like a big dude. He's not a big dude anymore. Now he's like super like here. Like, oh, here we go. Let me see if I can get this on there so I can show you this. Because if you could see this, you'll be like, dang, boy looks good. You know what I mean?
John is a super Cleveland fan. I don't know if you can tell.
Oh yeah,
dude, hardcore, bro. Like, grew up in Northern Ohio. I got to be that guy. It's not letting me do it, so we're just not gonna worry about it. But trust me, he's a big guy. I'm looking up Les Stroud right now. We'll see if we can get Les Stroud on here because that is Jeremiah's like, I guess, famous person crush.
Hey, I grew up watching Les Stroud, man.
Yeah, dude.
Do you know who that is?
The name sounds familiar. Is that the survivalist dude?
Yeah, he had several different shows. One was literally Survivor Man.
Yeah.
On Discovery Channel. He is a big baller when it comes to all that stuff. You know, we do these YouTube channels for backpacking. We got this podcast. We sit here and talk, right? But I mean, whenever you're out there and there's nobody to help you and you got to film everything yourself. Sure. Like, I carry around a Canon M50, which is like a camera this big. And he's out there sledding around all this camera equipment, doing a whole TV show. It's insane. He's got a YouTube channel too.
That's him right there.
That's him. Yeah, I think that you all. It's a handsome guy.
So what you're saying is, if Les Stroud and Joe Thomas had a child, it would be Brice.
It'd be me.
Well, I didn't say that. That come out of your mouth. But maybe.
I don't understand what the problem is with that. Like, I mean, I don't know, man. I'm just saying.
I just don't want to be punched in the face by Joe Thomas or whatever that guy's name is. Sorry,
whatever that guy's name is.
I'm not a Cleveland fan.
Like, that matters.
Okay. I want to get back to what we were talking about before. That's okay. So I think that the whole making it comfortable, like John was saying, for your kids, you want them to have a good time, especially their first time. I think that transcends just whenever you take a kid backpacking. Because if you take a friend with you, same deal. You want to make it as comfortable as possible, which is oftentimes very difficult.
Yeah, but there's not the entertainment factor that kids need to have.
What do you mean?
Like kids, you almost have to like, at least kids I've dealt with and my children and everything, they're so like, kids aren't just going to sit and talk at a campfire.
No.
You know what I mean? You've got to have some extra things. There have to be things like s'mores, and there has to be little games while you're hiking where you like point at things, and they have to. It's just a different thing altogether. With my friends that I've taken out, I want to make them comfortable, but I don't have to entertain my friends. You know what I mean?
Sure.
I think that's the difference between children and adults. Like children, there's an entertainment factor you've got to have, and you've got to do things because they're children. You know that their brains are empty. Like I won't say they're empty, but they're sponges. They're trying to learn in every single moment. Like, and their children are bringing in so much information at one time, and so they're constantly needing input. Whereas sometimes as adults, we like going backpacking just because we don't need any input, and we're loving the fact that it's just an escape from input. To be honest, at least for me, it is.
Yeah, I agree. Have you guys heard about the different games and stuff that you kind of, I don't know if invent is the right word, but you kind of make into games at camp? Do you have any?
Yeah, I mean, just sitting here talking about it, I mean, now we don't let, my kid's name is Blake. We don't let her bring a ton of toys out because we're like, hey, like the outdoors is your toy kind of thing, you know?
Yeah.
So she's, like the last little day hike we went on, you know, she found a stick that looked like a gun. And so she went hunting, you know, and so she just loved it, you know, or she's always wanting to pick flowers for mom, you know, whenever we're going. So she's always just on the hunt looking for stuff. I'm sure you guys know sassafras, the plant, you know, it's got 3 leaves. One looks like a spoon, the other one looks like a fork, and the other one looks like a mitten. And so, you know, whenever I told her about that, and this is root beer, this is what root beer, you know, is made out of, she's always on the lookout for those 3 leaves now, you know. It's just little things like that, you know, stuff that's educational and whatever, but then just that keeps her engaged in looking around and all that stuff. So, yeah.
I can't remember.
My little girl's always on the lookout for a 4-leaf clover.
Oh, yeah.
Every time we're out, it doesn't matter if there's no clover on the ground. She is looking for a 4-leaf clover. And she'll pull one. She'll go, Daddy, it's a 4-leaf clover. And one of the leaves is ripped, you know, but I have to tell her the bad news of, oh, sweetie, I hate to tell you this, but that's a ripped leaf.
Yeah.
You crush her? You crush?
Hang on.
Oh, here we go.
And I'm like, keep on looking. And so she gets excited and starts looking again.
Oh.
You know, it's not a disappointment because my daughter is very different. Like my son would lose his mind. He would just bawl out crying because of it. He's also younger, but she like wants to get the actual thing, because if she gets it, she's going to put it in her pocket, and she's going to remember when we get home, it's in her pocket. She's going to pull it out, and she's going to want to put it in one of her little books or notebooks or something so that she's got that forever. Yep. So like, she doesn't want a fake one. She wants a real one.
Well, get this, JK, speaking of that. So we're out climbing one day, and she's digging around, you know, up under this overhang, you know, just digging in the sand and in the rock. And I'm like, dude, what are you doing? And she's like, I'm looking for a gold rock. And man, she starts obsessing over it.
That's awesome.
Right? Every time we're out, she's always digging, looking for a gold rock. So me and my wife got the bright idea to go ahead and paint some, you know, just keep a couple stones in her pocket painted, you know, and, you know, just give her a bone, toss her a bone every once in a while, let her actually find one. And so we painted some up, and so we're down at like Yahoo Falls, right? And we're playing, we're playing in the creek through there, and I just tossed one out of my pocket, you know, and I'm like, hey, maybe we should look over here for a gold rock. And she looks down, she finds it. I've actually got on video. I'll show it to you after the podcast here. And she kind of looks at it and just tosses it. I'm like, what? She goes, it wasn't shiny enough.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, no. So
you're going to have to get like gold chrome paint for these things to make them look right.
Oh yeah. No.
Maybe some
the fool's gold. She's no fool.
Smart kid. You got a smart kid, man.
Was it on Canoe Hound Adventures? We went on his show, and he was telling us the different stuff that they do, like burying a cottage cheese container, like level with the ground, and trying to throw rocks and stuff in it, like ladder ball and all that kind of stuff. I never have done anything like that. at
Well,
camp.
they're also bringing canoes, so they're like,
Yeah.
they can load down a canoe. Yeah, I'm not carrying that stuff out into the woods.
That's-
I think that's the difference for them and backpackers, because it's like I saw a meme today that showed the heaviest substances on Earth, and the first one was the heaviest substances in the universe, and the first one was the Earth, and it was like came down a little bit, and then it was like something else that was huge, and a black hole, and almost went to the bottom of the screen, and the last one was 2 extra bottles of water in a backpacker's backpack. And that was considered the heaviest thing, in a backpack. So I thought that was hilarious, because it's true. Like, as backpackers, once we get our pack where we want it, we don't want to put anything else in it.
Oh, heck no. Did y'all have to camel up and all that whenever you're in the Pacific Northwest doing like those summits and stuff?
Well, with mountaineering, there's a certain amount of dehydration that you're willing to accept.
What?
I mean,
He's not wrong.
Yeah, you have to. I mean, on Rainier with, like for my first summit with the group of guys, the dude that took the dump, there was 5 of us in our rope team. And so, between 5 of us, we had 1 stove, just like if anything went bad or whatever. So we left all the other stuff at camp, and so we had a way to melt some snow if we needed to, but you just kind of
You're surviving in advance.
You just make sure you melt enough to fill up your bottles before you leave, and then you just
roll with it.
Yeah, you just accept it.
I always feel so bad for like the people who are doing the longer trails out west to go through the desert, and then they have to carry like 8 liters of water or whatever. It's like a 22-mile stretch with no water.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't imagine. And I know sometimes they have their backpacks dialed in, and they're like, okay, I have an 8-pound base weight, and I sleep under a tarp, and blah blah blah. And then they have like 18 pounds of just straight water.
Yeah.
Praying that they come upon some trail magic.
Yep.
Some gallons of water. But that is one of the best things about backpacking, getting some of that trail magic like that. That's happened to me twice with the water.
When I was on the Sheltowee Trace, it was me and my buddy Brian. We had gotten to Cumberland Falls, and we were hiking north from Cumberland Falls, and there had been a race there the weekend before. And when the race was over, they took all the leftover gallon water jugs and put them by a tree with a sign that said, trail magic for all Sheltowee Trace through hikers. Wow. And so we stopped, and that was the hardest, I think one of the hardest sections of the whole Sheltowee Trace is between Cumberland Falls and the 6 to 7 miles after it, I would say. Yeah. That's probably one, because it's a lot more technical bouldering, stuff like that through there. And we didn't have to get water. Like we got two hours down the trail, and we've been guzzling the water at this point. And there were these gallons of water just sitting there, and we just filled up everything and hung out over at the shelter when we got to it, and didn't have to worry about going to get water that night. It was awesome.
Yeah, you can't beat that.
Oh yeah, every time. It was awesome.
Yeah, whenever I was doing the long trail, I remember there was Gut Hook, for those that don't know, there's an app, and it has, if you're doing a through hike, that is the app you want to get. If you're doing the AT or PCT or CDT or some others too, like Camino de Santiago, a ton of different routes, and it has everything that you need on there: water resupplies, shelters, camp spots, road crossings, towns, everything. And I remember, you can comment on stuff, and everybody's saying this whole stretch is dry. You're not going to get any water. And I was walking, just being dehydrated, enduring, surviving, and advancing. And I come upon this big box just full of like 16-ounce water bottles. And I was like, thank you, God.
And then you realized it was all urine.
No. Man, that would have been awful. No, it was fresh water, that somebody had left there and had wrote on the box and stuff. And then I got to camp, and everybody in my trail family, none of them had saw it. I was literally like the only person.
Wow.
I don't know how they missed it. And I was like, well, gosh, it's completely possible that somebody sit it there after y'all come through because, I'm always last.
That's what they get for being overachievers.
That's right. You have to, sometimes you don't shoot for the moon. Sometimes you don't shoot for the moon. Sometimes just average, baby.
60%, dude. 60%. That's what I'm shooting for every time. I don't want to be 100%. I'll be 60,
Just maintain the 60%.
I'm the everyman,
Yeah. Tell them about the Girl Scout cookies trail magic.
Oh man. So it was like a trip that was supposed to be 4 guys that turned into 8 guys. And it was all YouTubers and a cottage company owner. And it was like me and Dan Becker and the Shill brothers and Midwest Backpacker, Rob Pelton, and Chad from UGQ and his buddy. And we were all out there hiking together.
Hiking where?
And we were up in Wisconsin in February. So we're idiots. And so we're out there hiking.
Cold.
Yeah, it was cold. And so we're all hiking out there and we're going across this road. And we found a place where we could all sit on the road and just eat our lunch. And while we're sitting there, this one truck pulls up and it stops. And this dude walks out and looks at Dan and goes, "Are you Dan Becker?" And we're like, "Oh my gosh, here we go. Dan, Mr. Famous," right? And so that happens. And they have a little talk. Dan gets a picture with him, talks about him on his video, and the guy drives off. Well, then shortly after that, this other vehicle pulls up and stops. We're like, "Oh, great. Here comes Dan Becker part 2. Dan's going to be all famous." And, but no, it was this dude. And he stops, opens his trunk, pulls out a box, looks at all of us and goes, "Any of you guys want some Girl Scout cookies?" Like, what? And this dude he just had boxes of Girl Scout cookies, saw us, knew that we were hiking, and offered us Girl Scout. Every one of us got our own box of Girl Scout cookies. It was awesome. Absolutely awesome. I've never had trail magic like that before. That was one of the coolest things.
That's baller trail magic. I wish that, see, we all live in Kentucky and we got the Sheltoe, and I wish that we had like hiker towns because there's not any great places it crosses through. I mean,
Moorhead's about it. I mean, you have to walk right downtown Moorhead.
Yeah, Moorhead, and then there's one like truck stop, like gas station thing
with great hamburgers.
Yes.
Great hamburgers.
Oh, I've eaten there. Not while I was on the Sheltoe, but I went back just because I knew it was good.
At that point, Brian and I had to figure out a different schedule to hike it. He had to go at one time and I had to go at another. And so I was hiking by myself and I came up on that and I'd heard people talking about it for years. And I was like, I cannot wait to get one of these burgers. And I got one and I was just like the happiest guy in the world because it's on the way to Camp Wildcat, I believe. Mm-hmm. And so good. So good. That was the day I got dehydrated.
Yeah, I got a burger there too, man. It was, I don't know how great their burgers are, but it was delicious that day. I mean, anything's good. I didn't even know the place existed. And then we walked out on the road. I was like, crap, we got road walking. And then we passed that place.
Forever.
I was like, thank you, God, for this road walk. I had I don't know if you know this, but Reese's makes like these cupcakes. So I know it's weird.
Like with Reese's Pieces instead of M&M's kind of thing?
No, they're like, I don't know, cream filled or what. I can't remember.
Ooh.
Me and
were you there with Hunter? Was that you and Hunter that hiked that section?
Yeah. There's a few of us, and we all got like different snack cakes. Like they come in, pairs or whatever. So if you got enough people, you can kind of swap around. Kind of like, I don't know if y'all ever done this, but if you're staying at shelters, sometimes you will swap out food.
Oh yeah,
like trade coffee for whatever, or ramen. And that's a very common one, unfortunately. I just feel like we can do so much better than the ramen.
Yeah. I think you can do a whole lot better in Mountain House too, because that's just gross.
Oh, shots fired.
Shots fired.
This is nothing I haven't said before, so it's not like this is some new hot take or something. People who've watched my channel know I'm not a big Mountain House person. I think people who say that their favorite food by Mountain House is the beef stroganoff only say that because they haven't had something better.
That's probably true.
It's the same reason kids love bologna And don't get me wrong, I just had fried bologna the other day for breakfast. So I'm not dissing bologna, but it's like they don't want to eat steak. They just want a bologna sandwich. And you're like,
Sure.
but it's steak. It's like when I see people eating beef stroganoff from Mountain House and they're like, this is the best thing ever. I'm thinking, dude, it's bologna. Like, let's get you like a steak, bro. Let's get some real food in you because that's not the best thing in the world.
So then I got a question for you, JK. Then if you are doing a dehydrated meal or whatever because of you just have to for weight and space concerns and things like that, what's your go-to?
I dig on 3 different companies. Okay. I can't eat them right now because I've been doing the keto diet, but I love Stowaway Gourmet. I think they have the best food, period. Like nothing tastes as good as their stuff as far as I'm concerned. But because the keto thing, the 2 go-tos I have are Packet Gourmet, which is incredible, and Next Mile Meals. They're pretty good too. So like, it's just better Mountain House, man. Mountain House, the fact you can buy it at Walmart should say everything.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like
I just buy it at Walmart.
I get lots of groceries at Walmart.
Would you buy a down jacket at Walmart?
Not a chance.
Exactly my point. So I win. Okay, so we are at the 55-minute mark in the show. So Brice, this is the point in the show where we offer you the opportunity to let everybody know how they can find you, what you're doing, let them know about the closet and everything. So I'll just leave it to you and you can let everybody know what they need to know about you.
Yeah, man. You can find me on Instagram, just Brice Burton. You can find Kentucky Outdoor Adventure Project on there. I forget my handle.
It's definitely on Facebook.
Yeah, it's on Facebook. Yeah. So, you just put it in the search engine and you'll find it. So,
and if you see a picture of a guy that looks like Joe Thomas, you know you found the right place.
Yeah. So, and if you're in Kentucky and you have a organization that might need these services, holler at me. Let me know. So, it is kind of a chicken and egg kind of thing. We're trying to figure out if there's more organizations that need to be created, so we can help some of these places out. And so teachers starting hiking clubs.
Yeah.
Wink, wink.
Wink, wink.
Hint, hint. No, I'm kidding.
That is a good end, though. The schools, that's a good place to start with the kids.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. For sure. But yeah, man. No, man, we're just rocking and rolling with it. And COVID has definitely slowed things down a bit, just because groups aren't getting out. And so haven't been able to do another fireside chat. We want to do that just to keep building the outdoor culture here in Somerset. And once we do that again, probably have to have you back.
That sounds awesome, man.
Yeah.
I'd love to
get your long trail story and all that stuff. So
very cool, man. Brice, it's been awesome to meet you. Like, believe it or not, Jeremiah has talked about you multiple times. All of it good. Every bit of it good. You're the only person he's talked that much good about ever. And so I'm kidding. He talks about everybody. Jeremiah can't be mean. He doesn't know how. But thank you so much for being on the show, man. Really appreciate it. Yeah. And we need to have you back at some point if you're willing.
Of course.
I'd love to dig deep into the stories of your experiences out in the Pacific Northwest and around here as well.
Well, let's just take the podcast to Mount Rainier.
Hey, there, you buy my ticket, man, and we'll be on the road.
You see my face right now. If you're online, my eyes just lit up. Like I'm all over that.
Man.
I'm all over that. Absolutely.
I'm in.
So now we just gotta get Jeremiah in. That's all that matters.
I know it.
Jeremiah, are you in? Are you in, Jeremiah?
I'm not committed to anything right now. But yes, I would love to go out and experience Mount Rainier with you fellas.
It's got to happen. We're gonna we can do it over the summer when you're out of school, man.
Yeah, if that I don't know what the dates were.
Summer. Yeah. Late July is perfect, man.
What were you gonna say, Brice?
For a long trail, week long trail, the Wonderland Trail that circumnavigates Rainier.
Oh, dude! I tried to get in on that this year. I had a guy who got into the lottery for it, but we didn't get in. So that was going to be one of my trails this year. That was my third trip that kind of fell through. Was the Wonderland Trail. So
it's tough, man. We went through some issues with Mount Whitney this summer. Trying to get the permits and everything. It's tough, man. We had to move our dates up like last minute. It was crazy. So it's tough to get those lotteries.
Well, Brice, thank you so much for being on the show, man.
Yeah, man.
It's just been awesome. We're definitely going to have you back on, and we definitely are going out west.
Sure.
And I'm holding you to it, Jeremiah. It's happening.
Sure.
Jeremiah, got anything else before we sign off of here?
Thank you, everybody, for everything.
Yeah, this has been a fun episode. We are definitely gonna have you back because this is great.
Sure.
So for myself and Jeremiah Stringer, you all have a great one. We'll catch you on the next one.
Adios.